Hey guys, a very good morning to each and every one of you. Welcome, Keith and Sharon. Welcome to FYI, Deborah and Marcus. Marcus Skinner, good to have you in the live this morning. Good to have Erwin Don Cook and Edward Brooms. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. We've got Troy Fraser on the live. Grace Noel is here as well. Good to have all of you. Yvette Gordon, Forbes Meduse. Good to have you, Forbes. Reandries, and I was out of town over the weekend. I think I saw a missed call from Forbes. Forbes, the internet was in and out, in and out, in and out. My apologies. Good to have Rena on with us, and Gail and Lynette, Natasha, Bristol. I like folks who get right to the program, saying loud and clear. We ain't even asking you guys how you're hearing us, but you on the ball like that. You understand the assignment. Loud and clear. Good to have each and every one of you on the live this morning. Quite a few things to share with you. As the week unfolds, we're going to be sharing a couple other stuff with you folks, because lots happening out there, folks. Lots of stuff happening out there. And as I said, the further out you go from the capital, the more the corruption. Because they think you can't see. They think you don't know what's going on. Troy Fraser, Don Sullivan, Dougie, Andrew Griffith. Good morning, fellas. Good to have you on the live this morning. The further out you go, they think you won't know what's going on. You won't know what's happening. One of the things I see happening, for instance, I saw the bishop commenting over the weekend on a road project happening at Aichuni, saying that the lots of the small contractors, not lots, that the small contractors, Pablo, from Aichuni, benefiting from those contracts. Small contractors from Aichuni. Right? Well, the small contractors might get a couple. Aichuni, Kukwani, all in the sub-region 10. All in the sub-region of Region 10. Right? Whether it is the Aichuni or Kukwani, they're bringing in their big contractors and squeezing out the small man. So Edgel, come again. Come again. In lots of instances, Marlon, in lots of instances, the small contractors, they have the means to do these contracts, the big contracts. They have the means, but they bring in the big contractors. And then the big contractors, hear this, Deborah, Yvette, the big contractors subcontract to the small contractors to get the work done. The central government does not have the confidence in the real small contractors, I dare say, the contractors, period, in the regions. And when they bring in the big contractors, now the big contractors got to go and subcontract to the small ones. Yeah. Correct is right. And so we're going to unpack some of what we saw and heard on the ground in Kukwani in particular. over the weekend. And you guys got to see some more of this country. Andrew, this country is so beautiful. Delvern Simpson, it is so magnificent. You, Alastair Chapman, it's so wonderful. Sometimes it's good to leave off the politics for a couple of minutes. This wasn't supposed to be a working weekend. This wasn't supposed to be a working weekend. But there's so much happening. How could you ignore it? How could you ignore it? Gail and Terrence, Tamara Fraser, all the Frasers in the live this morning. Good to have you with us, Tamara. Good to see you there. How you all doing? Folks, it's Monday, the 17th day of March. Half of it is gone. How the salary looking? Is March already payment? How the salary looking? Elizabeth Howard, Forbes and KK, Tamara. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Lots happening, folks. Lots happening. Of course, by now, the arrest or detention for questioning of Melissa Atwell, Melly Mel, it's all over there, folks, and all over the internet, and we're keeping our hand on the pulse of what's happening there. We know she's getting some good legal representation. Right, and we're going to wear our political stripes proudly. Jilly G and Lester Williams, we are going to wear our political stripes proudly. We're going to wear them proudly. We ain't going to shy away from these folks. We ain't going to shy away from them. So let's talk about a couple of things, folks, and then we get around to it. It's very interesting to see what people say about the cost of living, about the cost of living. And just like I said, the further out you go, the more pervasive poverty is. I mean, we got poverty right in the capital. We don't have to go far. Right in the capital, we got poverty staring us in the face. We don't have to go too far at all. But the further out you go, you're often taken aback on how Guyanese can live on so little. Our people got tremendous ingenuity. And you'll hear some of it as people in Essequibo talk about how they're grappling with the cost of living. Sometimes you think you get it bad. But you hear the other man's story, Nigel, Dolly, and Troy. You hear the other man's story, and then you realize, you know what? I ain't really got no problems again. I ain't really got no problems. You want to complain how life's so hard? When you hear what happening next door by you, you really think you had it bad, but you ain't got it so bad again. So I'm a little grateful this morning. I'm a little grateful this morning after I saw what was happening out there, what is happening out there, and how people are trying to make ends meet. And when you hear entrepreneurs, when you hear business people complaining, imagine what's going on with the rest of the people in this country, Avril, Gail and Denise. Imagine what's happening with other folks in this country. So let me give a big shout out to the lovely folks who hosted us in Kukwani, Region 10 sub-region over the weekend. Had a fantastic time with some lovely families. So good morning. Good morning to the LaRose family, to the Duquas. Good morning, each and every one of you. Team Kukwani, good morning. I'm trying to get to the. I got the notes in front of me on the screen, but I have it on this little tablet. But I can play discussing this morning on the tablet. Good morning, Fratia Phillips. Good to see all of you on the live this morning. All right, let me start with this whole series that Starbuck News does every Monday, talking about the cost of living and how the cost of living affecting people in this country. And cost of living affecting people in a bad way. In a bad way, right? Here is this gentleman, Mr. Dharam Ganga. Mr. Garam Ganga Prasad, 35, 36 years old. He told Starbuck News over the weekend. Starbuck News telling these stories out of Fairfield on the Essequibo coast. And Mr. Prasad, 36 years old, self-employed, told Starbuck News. Now, you gotta understand what Essequibo is to the PPP. You gotta understand what the Essequibo is to the PPP. Right? This is part of what they hold as the heartland. This is part of what they hold as the firewall. Much like Region 6, lots of parts of Region 6. Heartland. The Essequibo, not all of it, but lots of it, heartland. And here is this 36-year-old Guyanese, a citizen like any one of us, right? Dharam Ganga Prasad, not Ganga, Gada Prasad, Dharam Gada Prasad. He says that, listen to this, listen carefully, this is what's happening in our country. Fastest growing economy in the world. I hope the Private Sector Commission listening. I hope the GCCI tuned in. He says by community support, takes a village. By community support, I was able to gather some corn from a neighbor. I was able to gather some corn from a neighbor. Edos from the cart. This is the cart that is be coming through the communities, selling different things. I got some Edos from the cart. Corn from a neighbor. Listen to this. I got some chicken foot from another friend to make a pot for a friend and I. Corn from a neighbor. Chicken foot from another friend. We get little Edos from the cart, and I was able to make a pot. You know how many Guyanese making a pot? You're cooking. It's a difference between when you got things to cook and you're making a pot. He's making a pot, he says. I make a pot. He said, that's how we get by. That is how we get by. Dharam Gada Prasad. He says, this is a simple explanation as to how the cost of living affects us here. This is Fairfield, Essequibo Coast. I hope the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, I hope he's looking. So when Melissa Atwell talk about how Guyanese getting shortchanged, she ain't telling no lies. He said, this is how we get by. This is how the cost of living, in his words, this is how the cost of living affects us. Hear what he goes on to say. He says, if we are a little fortunate than some other people, right? He said, we are a little fortunate than other people, right? He says, how other people making out? He said, how other people making out? He friend, he and the friend bubbling this pot. Gotta wash me. He said he's coming to help out because he's self-employed. He said, if the cost of living, in his exact words, if the cost of living can be like this for us, much less other people. Much less other people. How they making out? How are they making out in this country? So this is the inconvenient truth that Anil Nandalal don't want to hear. If they could shut me down, shut down Starbuck News, shut down every independent voice, all they would want to hear is stupidity, live wire, nonsensical, birdness. But y'all know where Chronicle and Hensian and DP High, y'all know where they are in the larger scheme of things. Propaganda machines. Propaganda machines. So this fella, he's asking the question, Dharamgada Prasad. He said, if we are affected, my friend gotta watch me. We bubbling this party. Chicken from a friend. Edo from the car. Corn from another friend. We bubbling, we party. How other people in this country, how they're making out? That's a good question. Suresh, 58 years old. Suresh said the cost of everything high. Fairfield Essequibo Coast. Good morning to MP Sherwin Holner. Good morning. Good morning, MP. You know, Region 10 is such a magnificent place. I said earlier in my Facebook profile, it has all three rivers running through it. You go up to Rockstone. You got the Essequibo River there. You still in Region 10? Running right through Linden. Region 10 is the Demra River. And then the one that I dipped in earlier, the Burbis River. You get up to places like Kukwani and the Burbis River running through your backyard, right there in Region 10. So beautiful. Well, these views were solicited from the people of Fairfield in Essequibo. And Suresh, 58 years old. He's a vegetable farmer. He said everything high. Electricity, water bill, high every month. Starbuck News didn't coax Suresh. One question, how y'all doing economically? Perhaps how the cost of living treating you all. So it's everything high. Happy y'all come. Everything high. He said, I'm a cash crop farmer. And the cost of pesticides and fertilizers that I use on my crops gone up. Fertilizers and other pesticides gone up. Gone up. And then he makes the point. He says, my cash crops not selling. And this is repeated many times. Cash crops, vegetables not selling. This is Suresh. 58 years. He said my cash crops not selling because money not circulating as it should in $1 trillion economy. You know? This is March. In February, that budget was passed. Last month, Suresh says money is not circulating as it should. You know, you got some folks out there believe because the things are $1 trillion on paper, everything nice. Throughout this series, and especially this article today, you'll hear them talk about vegetables not selling. That's a recurring theme. Not selling. Right? You're not selling. He said planting, selling cheap. He said, can't pay me. I got 6 to 7 workers I usually pay. And then I hire a boat and so to transport the vegetable. And then he makes a point that the price of groceries, rice and so on, that high too. That high as well. And then he makes this point. I can leave you all to read the rest in Stabrook News. After this point that Suresh made, Suresh says, I think the government can't change the cost of living when it comes to the poorer class of people because the president is not listening to the poor people's needs. The president is not listening to poor people's needs. Suresh, Fairfield has equipment codes. And Suresh is like Guyanese all over this country. Fitzherbert Jarrett, good to see you on the live this morning. Fitzherbert joins us as often as he can, all the way from Connecticut. All the way from Connecticut. He has a lovely home there. Oh, you should see Connecticut when it's what? Fall, when the leaves are changing. Autumn, spring, when the leaves are changing colors. You should see Connecticut. You should see it. But Fitzherbert like the country too. Your own country. I know he comes as often as he can. Like tour. He's a tourist. Good morning, Fitzherbert, Jarek, Andrew, and all the other folks on the live this morning. So Suresh saying cost of living high. But they're fun and listening to poor people. Not listening. You know, when Anil the other day was talking about how things nice in this country, how things nice, how people dressing different and eating different. It's the Ali's he talking about, you know. It's the Ali's, it's not Suresh. It's not the poorer class of people that they're not listening to in this country. It's not them. It is not them. So that's just some of what's happening. That's some of what is happening, folks. Some of what's happening. What's a quote? Taking you out a little bit and bringing you all back in. What's a quote? Despite a court case on the deportation of Venezuela, international media reporting this morning, Trump deport a whole set of them. A whole set of them. Trump deport. But I hope Dolly, Yonette, Fortune, Melanie, Marcia, Harold, and Humi. Yes, you. Humi? Yes, you, Humi. I hope you all understand when the Venezuelans go back to Caracas and they realize nothing in doing there still where they're coming. I hope we understand that. And that is why supporting the opposition's call. Just Stabrook News just last week point out that a migration policy is needed and necessary. We love our Venezuelan brothers and sisters, and we're going to help them as much as people helped us over the years. We understand hard times. You hear Suresh Justin? You didn't hear Suresh and company? You got borrowed a little corn over, so tackle the yellow card. Get some chicken foot from somebody else. We understand hard times, so we understand what our Venezuelan brothers and sisters are doing. Trump trying to get rid of them. At his end, we just want things to operate in a structured way. Basically, things must operate in a very, very structured way. And over the weekend on the 16th, which was Saturday, I saw the Alliance for Change issued a statement that this government is not being honest with us, the citizenry. It is not being honest with us. But if we're still waiting on the contents of the black box from that helicopter that crashed more than a year ago, we are still waiting to hear what happened with the black box. Imagine. We wait a long time for them to volunteer information on what they know the intentions of the Venezuelans to be. I say picture the worst. Picture the worst. Picture the worst. So Alliance for Change on Saturday put out this statement. Of course, holding the government to account for its handling of this escalating tensions with Venezuela. You know by now, Ali says, following the opposition's lead, President Irfan Ali says, I'm not going to meet with Maduro. He has violated. Listen to us. All them tuning night and day, listening to us and making notes. He says Venezuela has violated several aspects of the Argyle Agreement, and he's not going to be meeting with Maduro. Right? One smart thing he ever did. The first smart thing you ever did. But again, the Alliance for Change blistering the government for the handling of the escalating tensions with Venezuela, demanding transparency and strong leadership. But enough of Irfan talking loud. I instructed, put on the deep voice there, gesticulating soon. Now for them is leadership. Alliance for Change said there's been no strong leadership from the PPP on this matter here. No strong leadership from them on this matter, and citing a whole host of transgression, of course, by the Venezuelans. Right? And circling back to this whole issue of our Venezuelan migrants and the admission by Robeson Ben quite recently that we might just have some shooters here. We might have some shooters here. And sadly, Robeson had a his belly had stayed silent. That's how lots of people felt. Might as well Robeson had stayed silent because he had could be elevated to plan status. He had a recommendation. I mean, like you're not supposed to say everything. Robeson had a recommendation. And so all of this prompted the Alliance for Change. He said, you all better come clean. Robeson Ben, Minister of Home Affairs.
You who are out there, if they come, we got to shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives. But we can never give up Essequibo. Guyana will be nothing without Essequibo.
Shoot and scoot. Shoot and scoot. We have agreement. We're not giving up Essequibo. We have full agreement there. Shoot and scoot. What's the real truth? Government of Guyana. What is the real truth? Shoot and scoot. That's what the man said. You didn't hear? as we Guyanese ask, you're deaf? Shoot and scoot. Fax Whitney, Colvis Bino, Frank Rice, Gwinnett, Kevin. Shoot and scoot. That's the kind of strategy. And Mr. Home Affairs sits on the defense board. So that's the plan. Speaking on behalf of the Guyana government, shoot and scoot. Free the backers, shoot and scoot. The man said it. It went by too fast. Went by too fast. Take another look.
You who are out there, if they come, we got to shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives. But we can never give up Essequibo. Guyana will be nothing without Essequibo.
So that's the shoot and scoot policy. Succinctly put by the Minister of Home Affairs. Shoot and scoot, folks. Shoot and scoot. The only doctrine. Shoot and scoot till help arrives. You know? Yeah. Correct is right. Correct is right. You know, we told you about Cuban professional health workers, whether they're doctors or nurses, but lots of them help us formally, right? This is government to government, and lots of them help informally. They come for work, they have all the requisite qualifications, they go through all the requisite things that they have to have, work permits and so on, and they're employed here. And you know, the Trump government have come down now saying that different CARICOM countries are trafficking in persons and all manner of things concerning the labor that the Cubans offer. Right? All manner of mechanicians we hear from the American government now, right? Of labor abuses of the Cubans. But we know that's just another kind of way to what do you call it? Marginalize Cuba. Right? It's just another roundabout way in which the government wants to do it. And of course, recently we heard from a number of CARICOM leaders on the subject matter. Because they've been threatening from the US government, if you continue to hire Cubans, this is what the American government has said, if you continue to hire Cubans, then you could have your visa revoked and so on. And you all know by now that lots of CARICOM leaders have stood up against this. Lots of CARICOM leaders say, you know, visa or no visa, we're not going down this route. You know, visa or no visa, we ain't desperate like that. Now, Ali has gone about it in a roundabout way, saying that there've been no breach of labor laws. All right. He doesn't really want to get to the heart of the matter. So he going in a big circle now. He's going in a big circle. He doesn't want to stand up with his CARICOM counterpart. He's throwing him under the bus. He has thrown them under the bus. Right? Taking his cue from the vice president last week. Here is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago on the subject matter quite recently.
We rely a lot for our healthcare delivery on certain specialists who over the decades we have obtained from India, from the Philippines, sometimes from Africa, and mainly from Cuba. Out of the blue now we are being called human traffickers because we hire technical people who we pay top dollar equal to local rates, but we are now being accused of taking part in the program where people are being exploited. That's somebody's interpretation. And of course, there are local people here encouraging them to take away our US visas. Today, I just came back from California. And if I never there again in my life, I will ensure that the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago is known to its people and respected by.
Yeah, that's a very, very strong statement out of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, the former Prime Minister now, stepping down finally and fully yesterday, the 16th day of March. So former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, and you know that Minister Stuart Young took over from him. So he's now officially should be the new Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. This is the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley, on the subject matter as well, direct and frontally.
And to tell you that we could not get through the pandemic without the Cuban nurses and the Cuban doctors. I will also be the first to tell you that we paid them the same thing that we pay Bajans, and that the notion, as was peddled not just by this government in the US, but the previous government, that we were involved in human trafficking by engaging with the Cuban nurses was fully repudiated and rejected by us. Now, I don't believe that we have to shout across the seas, but I am prepared, like others in this region, that if we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the US, then so be it. But what matters to us is principles. And I have said over and over that principles only mean something when it is inconvenient to stand by it. Now, we don't have to shout, but we can be resolute. And I therefore look forward to standing with my CARICOM brothers. I wish I could say brothers and sisters, but brothers, to be able to ensure that we explain that what the Cubans have been able to do for us, far from approximating itself to human trafficking, has been to save lives and limbs and sight for many a Caribbean person.
Yeah, so over the weekend, folks, President Ali said that the Cubans have broken no laws here, or the government has broken no laws too, as concerns the employment of Cuban medical workers. Ali said it over the weekend. Here's Jack Joe, last week, Thursday, I think it was. Take a look.
I've seen some of the statements made around the Caribbean.
Policies.
We don't do diplomacy in the public. And I believe we have a strong engagement with the Trump administration and with the State Department that would allow this matter to be resolved to the satisfaction of all parties. So that is how we'll approach it.
Yeah, talking about matters that they could resolve, the U.S. aid program is another program that has been cut by the Trump administration that affects vital work that's being done here, because, you know, even though we're $1 trillion economy, the government is still not doing everything for its people. And the American government has been picking up the slack where that's concerned for a very long time. And Trump has just cut the U.S. aid program. Government says no. In spite of that, they're gonna pitch in now. They're gonna step up. As according to Zulfikar Mustafa over the weekend, he said, no, we're gonna step up, folks. We're watching it. We're watching it. Another issue of hot contention from last week right into this week: gold, the gold scam. Today we got the attorney at law, Christopher Ram. He's an anti-corruption crusader. Attorney at law, chartered accountant, Christopher Ram. He said this program should be suspended. He said too many questions on gold have gone unanswered. That's what he said. Suspend the program. Audit. This is a chartered accountant in him talking. Audit the program top to bottom. Audit goal. Top to bottom. And he's also called for an independent investigation. Over the weekend, Sabbath News told us that yet another university has distanced itself from gold. Another university has distanced itself from the subcontracting body gold uses for these universities, access to these universities, ISDC, distance themselves. And here's Christopher Ram today questioning what is the program oversight under the office of the president? What is the program oversight under the minister within the ministry of the president? Ashley Singh. That's what the Christopher Ram told us today. Or ask us rather, what is the oversight? Suspend the program until we have a fuller picture. He also urged Irfan Ali to release the financial details and restructure the program under the University of Guyana. Restructure the program under the University of Guyana. Where is the accountability on this, Guyanese? Where is the like to tout good governance, transparency? Where are those things? And again, Trinity Law Christopher Ram advising, suspend, thoroughly investigate. You got an institution here in gold getting funding equivalent to the University of Guyana. And unlike the University of Guyana, there's no academic board. There's no council. There are no faculty reps and faculty meetings and so on. One book I was reading over the weekend talk about self-correcting mechanisms. There's none of that. All you got is Dr. Jacob Upadei working whatever grassmatics. I don't want to give grassmatics a bad name. Right? Working whatever Jagdio voodoo, economic voodoo. Sabbath News asks Upadei a simple question. Who is the team from ISDC? And the man got the temerity being paid by Guyanese to say, go and do your own research. The man got the temerity, Deborah, to say, go and do your own research. Not only should you just suspend gold, right? Suspend gold. But, like Upadei overstays welcome. He overstays welcome. It's only here people can come and do us anything and tell us anything. He don't seem to be too grateful and too thankful for what Guyanese has done for him. He don't seem too grateful. He tells Sabbath News, go and do your own research. The temerity, Rahan Basantram, the gall and the gumption, the unmitigated gall. Yeah, go and do your own research. And he being paid tax. You see what the PP allow it? You see what the People's Progressive Party allow it? People watch Jagdio's performance in the Corner Shop show on a Thursday afternoon, and Guyanese take the cue. Or I should say people in the public sector take the cue, because Jacob Upadei is not Guyanese, but he telling Sabbath News Go and do your own research. Henrik? Lester? My Lord. Iron just reminded me, don't be vexed with the man. Iron just reminded me, don't be vexed with Jacob. He said, because when you catch a paku, so Jacob bust in the back. Jacob bust in the back of the PVP. Bust in the back. My Lord. So people will come here now, do me anything, tell me anything, treat me anyhow. This government here is really corrupt, you know. Not play corrupt. Real corrupt. So you got Ram on the one side calling for this full and frank investigation, thorough investigation of the Ghana Online Academy of Learning goal, calling for full investigation. Christopher Ram. And then you got Dr. Anand Gulsharan on the other side, talking about corruption in other areas too. You know, seeing lots of our state oversight entities that receive lots of money from Guyanese taxpayers. They have not been audited in a long time. Thank you for reminding us. And the importance of being audited. The Ghana Geology and Mines Commission, the National Industrial and Commercial Investment Limited, NACIL, GGMC, NACIL, Ghana Gold Board. Ghana Gold Board. Why y'all didn't tell us the Ghana Gold Board broke and can't pay its debts of $1.97 billion in losses in 2022? Why y'all didn't tell us? Why y'all didn't tell us Ghana Gold Board insolvent? It's a fancy way to put it. Insolvent. And then Dr. Gulsharan talks about in his column today about poor mining compliance, lack of reporting on carbon credit transactions, agencies withholding funds from the consolidated fund. All of this under good governance PPP, transparent PPP, accountable PPP, and major entities have gone without proper auditing. Major entities in need of stronger financial oversight. But where's the accountability brigade? Gail Teixeira, Minister of Governance. Where's the guardians of democracy? No, they're part of the propaganda of the daily news people now. Right? They're part of the propaganda with backlash now. The trolls and the propagandists, the apologists for the PPP. Read this column today in Sabuk News, Dr. Anand Gulsharan, talking about accountability, what's needed in this government. Folks, lots happening. Let's leave it there for today. Two other important things should draw to your attention before we run off. Saw a letter in Village Voice talking about the manipulation by Irfan Ali of the U.S. authorities in this Melissa Atwell case. Government doing all that wrongdoing, but they don't want, you point it out, you know, that NACIL not being properly audited, the oversight, financial oversight poor at the Gold Board, Ghana Geology and Mines management leaves much to be desired. They don't want you to talk about the truth. All you must say is, Ali is great. Right? Jagju is God. Put on the mala and move on. You are the best friend, you know. You do that and you are their best friend. Folks, you know, like these guys with the so before I get there, there's this letter to the editor in today's press. I think that is by this is another letter in today's press by veteran trade unionist Lincoln Lewis, who talks about how the Cybercrime Act is being misused to punish citizens who question government action or expose its corruption. Nobody him being fired and so on and disciplined for corruption. No. Not Bobby Gusai at Natural Resource. Nobody being sanctioned here for bad behavior. I saw Damlal at a regional management meeting over the weekend. Disgraced. Nigel Damlal. PP has no shame. PPP has no shame. And they are prepared to use any tool to keep and maintain power. And Guyanese have to be equally as resolute. Equally as resolute. You hear? In defense of what is right. In defense of what is good. And if we can do those things, friends, we'll be the greatest civilization on earth. But we got to pull these boys back on the straight and narrow. Tonight, in our broadcast, we're going to be talking with a farmer or two. We're going to be talking with a farmer or two. I ain't going to tell you from where. As yet. But you're going to want to join tonight. You know? Think you can have some fireworks. You're going to want to hear about the good governance of the PPP. How everything is nice. You heard some cash crop farmers being quoted today from Sabuk News. How things going with them and the cost of living. And we can talk with a rice farmer or two. And tonight's book, you go on. Tune in. I think you can get some fireworks. Good to have had all 1,500 plus of you on our program this morning. We're going to see you guys in the next broadcast. Thanks to the beautiful, wonderful folks at Kukwani hosting yours truly and family over the weekend. Having a fantastic time, folks. If y'all get a chance to put down the politics a little bit and see this country, you don't got to go far. People strike me out the front door these days. You don't have to go far, you know. I don't think I can do vacation overseas this year. I think I can take another week somewhere locally, you know. Too much at stake to run overseas spending like the time now. But so much beautiful country to see. Guyana is beautiful. We've only been humbugged by bad and poor management and leadership over the years. For all that we have, bauxite, aluminum from it, manganese, you name it, we got it. Oil, gas. But we're being held back. You know, I was looking at the trail. Last thing I'll say before I leave you guys. That long trail from Linden to Kokwani, through Aichuni, and we make it to ourselves, all of us, governments regardless. We have gotten so much from that piece of real estate there, Region 10. So much from them. And then that is the condition of that road. You know, Linden to Kokwani needs a modern highway. And by extension, you're going to be connecting to Berbice. And I heard the chairman of Linden, of Region 10 rather, chairman of Region 10, Darren Adams, perennially talking about the infrastructure there at Millie's Hideout and how you can create better access of farmers or for farmers to different places. We ought to build a modern road there. Connect Region 10 in a powerful way to Region 6 via the Berbice River. You know, a modern highway. That place is so immensely beautiful. Every turn, a different vista opening up before you. Just expanse of land. We wicked. I'm blaming all governments this morning. If you see land as far as the eye can see in Region 10, people dying without a piece of land in this country. Dying without a piece of land in this country. Dying. The folks told us in Kukwani, showed us a piece of real estate. They said, this piece of land here, Guyanese asked to build a house here. They said, nah. They're doing something, some local program they're doing there. And now they've handed it to a foreigner. They put a supermarket. They've handed it to a foreigner. We make it till we self fuss. We make it till we self fuss. First, we'll talk some more about Kukwani and Aichuni and Region 10 as we get into the week. Good to see you guys on our broadcast this morning. Thanks for joining us. Jilly G. Jilly G, you know it. You know the whole thing, Jilly G, top to bottom. Jilly G said the wicked stink dirty. 100%. Sheila Boy Child, Frank and Sandra, Nigel. All right? Is it New Baines? Y'all got these fancy names here. These handles. New Baines, Nigel and Sonia. We're going to see you guys in the next one. Share the live for us. Please and thank you. And smash that emoji button as well. That's our time this morning, folks. And that's our program. We're going to see you guys right back here later on in the day on the next one. You know, I'm looking forward to the program this evening. Looking forward to talking with those farmers, a few of them. That's our time, folks. Take a look. Take a listen tonight. Tonight. That's all. Stay safe.
Thank you.